and Saracens and hundreds of police and soldiers. We were at the bottom of the cul-de-sac, where we quickly realised that between us and the oncoming mob of loyalists was only about 100 yards of open field. And if the loyalists had so decided, they could have run across that field, got to the bottom of the cul-de-sac about the same time as the security forces would have made their way down to the bottom to stop them. At which point, the London cameraman I was working with turned to me and said, "Noel, I don't mind filming at the OK Corral, but it's a bit of a shitter when you're in it."
The attack came shortly after 6 o'clock this morning. The IRA had placed 4 bombs around the house.
Former Stormont Civil Service Chief Sir Kenneth Bloomfield lost his home and almost his life to Provo bombers, but he still didn't lose his sense of humour.
So just down the lane here is Shanogue, the house in which our family lived for something like 19 years, and on a rather unhappy and memorable day, the house had just been bombed. Standing just about here where we are now was the Army Technical Officer, the bomb squad band, fresh-faced young English soldier in moon boots and protective clothing. And first of all, he says, "Wouldn't mind having another look round the house, sir, if you're game for it." And when I said, "OK," we wandered a step or two, and the sun had come out, and rather incongruously, he then said, "Anyhow," he said, "lovely day you've got for it, sir." And, you know, even in those awful circumstances, I thought it was quite funny.
There's a hierarchy of British Army regiments. They come for 4 months at a time, and you get to know the different standards, behaviour. At the top end of the scale, you have the Paras. If the Paras stop you in the street and ask your name and address, you do a somersault, kiss their feet, and tell them everything you know about the IRA and anything about your granny. You don't give the Paras any jip. Probably the same with the Royal Marine Commandos. The two tough ones, because they batter you if you give them any cheek. But at the very bottom of this scale of British Army regiments was the poor wee Devons and Dorsets. You had to be under 4'9" to be a member of the Devons and Dorsets. They were terrified in Turf Lodge. Somebody threw 2 hand grenades at them at our front door in our Mona Gardens, and the squealing and the weeping and the crying was unmerciful. One of them ran right past my ma up our hallway and under the stairs and wouldn't come out for 15 minutes. My ma, "Son, come on, you have to go back to the barracks, you'll get me done in here. Come on, get out of here. I want my wife."
Your man stopped the soldiers and he says, "What's in the bag?" He says, "My lunch." He says, "Are you sure?" "I think it's taken." He says, "It's not, it's a turkey." Assume the position up against the wall, 40 minutes of me, "Why did you open your mouth?"
For true love is the treasure of treasures.
Well, this was in 1971. It was the night of my engagement party. I was decked up to the 90s because I wanted to make this grand entrance into, as I say, what was my engagement party. It was pelting out of the heavens. It wasn't taking time to rain. And in those days, all you would have seen was a great big light, swaying. And I'm driving a little Mini.
I need to search the car, miss.
But it's pouring with rain.
If you please get out. I know I'm going to... Yes, I realise that, miss. Please. Please, thank you.
It was pouring down. And I'm standing there getting wet, and the wind was starting to clap to my cheeks and all the rest. They hauled the back seats out. The car was literally taken apart.
Miss, please, thank you.
Can I sit in the back?
All right then, miss.
Thanks so much.
I had to actually climb up over the top of the seat and into the back seat of the car while they then removed the front seats and into the engine and everywhere like this here. And I'm sitting and all this paraphernalia up around me. I thought, what does one have to do, to get to your own engagement party? By this time, I was drenched completely. I just wanted to cry.
There we go, miss. Sorry to have kept you so long. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night yourself.
And then he says, "Where was it again you said you were going?" And I said, "I'm on my way to my engagement party." And this time I was near in tears. And I said, "And when I go in there," I said, "if my fiancé sees me looking like this, it'll be all off."
Taking everything into consideration. A policeman's lot is not a happy one. Happy one.
Top cop Sir Ronnie Flanagan, just learning the ropes in '73, played his part in the police performing a very special rope trick on a bomber.
A uniformed sergeant, well known to me, but he was pounding towards me in pursuit of somebody. I didn't know what was happening, but I grabbed the individual that he was chasing, and he said, "Ronnie, hold on to him. I'm away after his mate. They've abandoned a van near the City Hall, and we're pretty sure there's a bomb in it."
After Ronnie had booked the bomber into custody, the would-be terrorist agrees to return to the scene to defuse the device.
He was telling the ATO apparently, "Look, there's no problem. It's not primed. If you want, I'll lift it out." So the ATO said, "Well, okay," and the whole area had been cleared, but they were slightly fearful that he might make his escape if they just let him walk up towards this thing. So what they did was tie a rope round his ankle and played the rope out as he indeed walked up to the van and lifted what was a bomb out bit by bit and placed it on the ground where it was safely disposed of, and he was uninjured, nobody was harmed, and no damage was done. But we had incidents which were dangerous, we had incidents which were bizarre, we had incidents which were funny, and I'm not sure which category that fits into, maybe all three.
There have been some cowboys who have walked these streets over the 40 years of their troubles, but there was one wannabe cowboy. He joined the security forces. He was a rookie. They gave him a personally held weapon, and he loved it. He used to stand, draw it in front of the mirror. But then, one night, it wasn't Clint Eastwood or John Wayne who was on the TV. It was the World Quick Draw Championships, and... The beginning of the end of the Troubles came in 1994. The IRA called the first big ceasefire, followed by the Loyalists 6 weeks later. There were cavalcades and celebrations. But one wee Belfast flower seller who had survived all the bombs and bullets in the city centre ended up in front of the Beak, the magistrate, in court.
So your man, the wee flower seller, says, "Your worship, it was like this. See, night of that big ceasefire, they were singing the soldier song and dancing in the street up the falls. They were singing the sash and dancing in the street up the Shankill. And see me, I'm standing in the middle of Royal Avenue singing, 'Ain't nothing but a hound dog.' And the black so-and-sos, they lift me."
Then came the other big one. The Provost decommissioned their arms, and the good folk of Irvinstown, County Fermanagh, famed for living in harmony, decided to take the mick and hand in their own arms. And although then Secretary of State John Reid met many cowboys during his Ulster stint, this is what happened when he met an Irvinstown son of a gun. And his bodyguards didn't reach for theirs. How times have changed.
Well, I said, what's the difference between my wife and a terrorist? You can negotiate with a terrorist.
They say comedy equals tragedy plus time. But throughout the Northern Ireland Troubles, tragedy and comedy shared the same stage. They were both part of everyday life. And if it hadn't been for our own unique brand of humour, we would really have been in even deeper trouble.
Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Come on, baby, let me thrill your soul.
The competition is fierce and losing is not an option. One Life watches the British Wheelchair Dancing Championships at 11:45 tonight here on BBC One. Up next though, keep on smiling with Dry Your Eyes.
Come on, baby, rock me all night long. Come on, baby, let's close